You wake up with a gasp, the silk sheets clinging to your sweat-drenched skin. It is exactly 3:14 a.m. The digital clock on your nightstand glows with a harsh, red intensity, but the real illumination comes from the 3 massive monitors on your mahogany desk across the room. You don't sleep anymore. Not really. Sleep is a vulnerability, a temporary lapse in control, and control is the only thing keeping you breathing. You swing your legs over the edge of the bed, feeling the cold, imported Italian marble beneath your bare feet. You wrap a cashmere robe around your shoulders, a physical shield against a chill that emanates from the inside out. You walk toward the screens. The soft hum of the central air conditioning in your penthouse is the only sound in the dead of the night, contrasting violently with the deafening roar of the numbers flashing before your eyes. You are staring at a complex web of wire transfers, shell corporations, and offshore accounts. To the untrained eye, it looks like high-level corporate finance. To you, it looks like a loaded gun pointed directly at your temple. You are an architect of shadows. You launder money for Los Cuinis, the financial mastermind syndicate behind the most ruthless cartel on the planet. It didn't start like this. It never starts with blood and threats. It starts with ambition. You remember the girl you used to be, graduating at the top of your class with a master's degree in international finance. You were brilliant, hungry, and entirely overlooked by the boys' club of Wall Street and Mexico City's elite banking sector. You wanted to break the glass ceiling, but you didn't realize that the only people willing to hand you the hammer were monsters wearing tailored suits. They found you through a boutique wealth management firm. At first, the clients were just high-net-worth individuals needing aggressive tax optimization. They praised your intellect. They respected your flawless models. They paid you bonuses that made your legitimate salary look like pocket change. You convinced yourself you were just playing the game better than anyone else. But the veil was thin, and one evening, sitting in a private room of a Michelin-starred restaurant, the mask slipped. The man across from you didn't look like a gangster. He looked like a CEO. He poured you a glass of vintage Bordeaux and calmly explained that the $50 million you had just cycled through agricultural subsidies in Spain belonged to an organization that did not tolerate mistakes. He welcomed you to the family. That was the exact moment the ambitious girl died, replaced by the paranoid ghost you are today. The machinery of Los Cuinis is terrifying in its elegance. They do not operate in the dirt. They operate in the stratosphere of global economics. You are their phantom queen, moving pieces across a board that spans continents. Your days are consumed by the mechanics of placement, layering, and integration. You sit in your sterile, glass-walled office overlooking the skyline, sipping artisanal espresso while you fabricate invoices for non-existent shipments of avocados and high-grade tequila. You purchase failing luxury hotels in Puerto Vallarta, and suddenly, miraculously, their occupancy rates hit 100%, justified by millions of dollars in fake bookings. You set up phantom corporations in the British Virgin Islands, Cyprus, and Panama, layering the dirty cash through so many jurisdictions that even the most dedicated Interpol agent would drown in the paperwork. You don't see the drugs. You don't hear the gunfire. You don't witness the bodies hanging from bridges. You only see the zeros. The system is designed to keep your hands clean while your soul rots. You justify it by telling yourself you are just a mathematician, an analyst. But the truth creeps in during the silent hours. Every time you hit execute on a transfer, you are funding the purchase of armored vehicles, military-grade weapons, and the bribes that keep the political machine perfectly oiled with blood. The money is an abstract concept until it isn't. The isolation is profound. You are surrounded by wealth that most people cannot even fathom. Your closet is filled with designer clothes. Your garage holds cars you never drive. But you have no one to talk to. You can never complain about a bad day at the office. You cannot date. Intimacy requires honesty, and honesty for you is a death sentence. You are entirely alone inside a gilded cage, surrounded by men who view you not as a human being, but as a crucial algorithm. The paradox of your existence is that the better you are at your job, the deeper you are buried. You have made yourself indispensable, which means you are entirely unexpendable. There is no resignation process in this corporate structure. There is no severance package. There is only the shallow grave in the desert or the sudden tragic car accident on a lonely highway. You are hyper-aware of your surroundings. Every time a black SUV idles too long outside your building, your heart hammers against your ribs. Every click on your encrypted phone feels like a countdown timer. Then comes the mistake, the turning point where the fragile illusion of control shatters completely. It wasn't even your error. A low-level associate in a newly acquired shell company in Switzerland missed a single digit on an IBAN code during a routine transfer of 2 million euros. The money bounced. A red flag was raised in a European regulatory database. It was a minor ripple in an ocean of cash, but in your world, a ripple is a tsunami. The phone rings. It's the encrypted device that you keep locked in a safe, the one that only ever rings when the devil wants to talk. The voice on the other end is calm, almost pleasant, asking you to attend a meeting at a private estate outside the city. You know what this means. The ride there is a blur of hyperventilation and cold sweat. You mentally prepare your defense, building a fortress of spreadsheets and contingency plans. But when you arrive, there are no laptops, just the man who recruited you, sitting by a pristine swimming pool feeding pieces of premium steak to a massive Doberman. He doesn't yell. He doesn't pull a weapon. He simply asks you about your mother. He mentions the exact address of her small house in Guadalajara, the name of her golden retriever, and the bakery she visits every Sunday morning. The terror is absolute, paralyzing your vocal cords. He pours you a drink and tells you that the 2 million euros have been recovered, but the inefficiency was disappointing. He smiles, a cold reptilian curving of the lips, and tells you that he knows you will never let it happen again, because now you truly understand the stakes. You walk out of that estate with your life, but you leave your sanity behind on the perfectly manicured lawn. The trap has snapped shut, breaking your spirit in two. From that day forward, the paranoia isn't just a feeling, it is your permanent state of existence. You trust no one. You look at the barista making your coffee and wonder if she's an informant for the DEA. You look at your driver and wonder if today is the day he has been ordered to take a different route. You double, triple, quadruple check every single transaction until your eyes bleed and your fingers cramp. You are a prisoner of your own intellect. The wealth around you feels grotesque, a mocking reminder of the price you paid for a seat at the table. You pop prescription pills to numb the anxiety, but they only dull your sharp edges, making you terrified that you might miss a detail and sign your own death warrant. You stand by the floor-to-ceiling windows of your penthouse, looking out over the glittering city lights. Millions of people are down there, living ordinary lives, worrying about mortgages, heartbreak, and mundane office politics. You would give everything you have, every offshore account, every designer suit, every ounce of power, just to be one of them again. But the ink on your contract was dry the moment you accepted that first glass of wine. You are the financial wizard of the Underworld, the woman who washes the blood out of the cartel's gold. You will keep moving the numbers, keep spinning the plates, keep staring into the abyss of the monitors until the day the music stops. And you know, with absolute, terrifying certainty, that when it stops, there will be no trial, no judge, and no jury. There will only be the silence. That is all for today. The story you just heard is fiction, but the reality of brilliant minds laundering money for cartels happens every single day. If this story made you think, leave a comment saying what your biggest takeaway was. Subscribe so you don't miss the next Underworld stories. Until next time.